All right, everybody. Hi, welcome back. This is the next day. I am here. My voice is better. You can see I got a new shirt. I've even got a new drink. I don't have Mountain Dew anymore. I've got a fruit tea. That's I've been drinking, and it's full of water now. So it's got like it tastes like fruit water. Anyways, as I said last time on the warrior video, I'm gonna go over the neutrals now. So we're running down neutrals. I'm gonna use my list, my personal list, which starts from the top and works its way to the bottom. I'm going to start off with the commons first. Then we go through the rares, the legendaries, and the epics. So I'm going to start from the best card in each rarity, and then work my way down instead of going like one way through, because that's how I've got it written on my thing. All right. So best card in the set. I've already talked about it before. Paparazzi. Paparazzi, Battlecry, Discover, Legendary Minion. Legendary minions are insane. It's a fairly static card. You're going to take this, you're going to discover legendary minions, you're going to win games on itself. So, that is a 6-star card. Why is it not 7? Well, because the Dragon Discovers weren't 7. I mean, this is just like, it's an annoying card, but it's not something that just wins the game on the spot. Alright, next one here, Concert Promo Drake, another one I've talked about. So, 8/8, tradable, finale, discover, destroy an enemy minion. As I mentioned here, the tradable is not, I don't value it that highly for a card like this because the effect is powerful enough that you're going to want to, how it says, the effect is powerful enough that you probably don't want to trade it because you'd be more likely to win having it on curve and having a few bad turns rather than trading it to find a good turn. So that's why I don't value the tradable as much. So the finale, I've talked about it. You can do the finale reliably on 8 or 10, except if you're a demon hunter and then this card goes way down because your hero power hinders you here. So this is, like, as I said, destroy an enemy minion. That's going to be insane in a lot of games. Like, I compare it, a Twin Tyrant was like a 107. The body's similar to a Twin Tyrant. I would say at that point similar. I think the effect of Twin Tyrant is better than this. I could raise this to 6 stars. I'm going to be a little low. I'm going to say 5 stars, just because I value the Twin Tyrant's effect that much more for regular classes, and it's a 3-star card in Demon Hunter because you will sometimes find stuff to piece this one together. All right, next card. So outside the broken stuff, what have we got? Next card we have got is going to be Ghost Rider, which is one of the first cards they revealed. Battlecry, discover a spell, finale, discover one more. So by itself, it's a Steward of Scrolls, which was 4/4, discover a spell, and that was always a decent card. Finale, discover another. So you can play this on 5. I mean, it's a fine body on 5, and you can get 2 spells off of this. You don't have to use the finale. I just realized that this was the Eccentric Scribe. But anyways, so you're very often, by having a body here, you don't really need to care as much about the value of Discover. It's cheap enough that you can play it and you can look to try to discover things. So I think it's reliably a 5/5 Discover 2, or it's 5/5 Discover 1 if you need like something very, very quick. I think it's one of those cards where there's not really a bad situation for it, is what I'm saying. So ultimately, I think it's a 4-star card. I can see others being less positive on it, but I think overall 4-star card. All right, next one is a split. Next one is going to be a split card between different classes, and that's going to be Instrument Tech. Instrument Tech is right here. 2 mana, 1/2, draw a weapon. Now, again, you got things like Loot Hoarder. 2 mana, 2/1, draw a card. I mean, that should be really, really low, right? Well, here's the thing. Number 1, a lot of weapons come out on 3. Number 2, there's a lot of powerful weapons for like all classes this turn. And honestly, I might have underrated it because I forgot to factor in that each class is going to have their own weapon. And some of these weapons, like the Mage weapon, like you can specifically tutor a card that is going to win you the game. So, for something like that, for something like Death Knight, Demon Hunter, Paladin, Warrior, when you are able to tutor that card that is able to specifically win you the game, I think that is a 4-star effect. I think it's one of those cards where I might be overrating this. I'll say this. I might be overrating this. I can see talking to myself in my head why this might not be as good. For Shaman and Rogue, you're going to have less weapons. So I would say 3-star for them. And I'm going to raise this here. I'm going to raise the score because I forgot about the class weapons. I'm not going to go down. Like, I know the Warlock one is garbage. But, like, the Mage one is decent. The Priest one is okay. So I'm gonna raise this to a 35, which is like yeah, I'll raise this to a 35. Why? Because that's a 1-star situation. 15 is like basically never picked, but some of these classes they're gonna have weapons. So high 1-star card for the classes that don't rely on weapons. And again, I admit might be rating this a little bit too high. I'll probably bring it down, but I think just the ability to tech a weapon, which wins you the game a lot of the times, is extremely powerful. Next one, Pyrotechnician, a 4-mana 2/5. Where are you? After you cast a spell, add a random fire spell to your hand. So, deal with this card is it's basically an infinite engine. So, you cast a spell, then you basically have, if your opponent cannot remove this, you're going to have fire spells. And what do fire spells do? Fire spells do a whole heck of a lot. Let's go over here. HS replay. Let's go to set. Let's get all the sets here. Let's get all the sets here set up. All right. And let's go type, spell, spell school, fire. Most fire spells, like you only have 17 here in these sets. Like Fireball, really good. Sunfire Smithing, really good. That's going to be Firelands, really good. Explosive Runes, fine. Light of the Phoenix, could be good. Embers of Strength, can be really good. Scalding Geyser, really good. Explosive Trap, yeah. Fires of Zinashari, that's one of the best cards ever printed in Hearthstone, so yeah, like, obviously. Arson Accusation, I mean, there's certain classes you can use as well. Volcamancy can be useful. Pyroblast is good. Like, Pyroblast is bad for this one. Like, it ends the chain. Blazing Transmutation can be fine. Blazing Power can be fine. You just keep on buffing it. Forge in a Flame, it's a cycle. That's fine. Hellfire is going to be good. Immolate. Like, again, it's a cycle card. Whatchamacallit? What's coming back in the core? Fire Sale is fine. So fire spells, for the most part, they're fine. Like if you get a Pyroblast, you kind of end the thing. If you get a Firelands, you kind of end the thing. You may not want the Fires of Zinashari, but for the most part, it's an infinite engine, even if your class doesn't have fire spells. And because of that, and that infinite engine just keeps on removing things. It's kind of like how Hollow Technician, by living, just keeps on killing things. This, by living, just keeps on killing things, which protects it, so it keeps on generating things, and so on until it runs into like one of those things that end. And again, if you run out of spells, you can just cast another spell. So yeah, ultimately, I think that this thing, it's a great card. I think it's a 4-star card easily. Okay, next one here we've got is Audiomedic. 1 second here. All right. Audio, like I did these reviews a long time ago, so I forget where some of these are. Audiomedic here. 2 mana, 2/3 rush, finale gain lifesteal. Don't really care about the finale, care about the 2 mana, 2/3 rush. Just there's a lot of 2/2s around, there's 2/1s around, there's 2/3s around that you can combo with like a hero power or something to go into them. There's totems around, so basically being able to rush out and kill those is extremely valuable. And then having the lifesteal bonus that is going to save you sometimes. All right, so ultimately I think this is high. I think this is a low 4-star card, but it is a 4-star card. Okay, next one here, Party Animal. Give +1/+1 to a minion type of each type in your hand. This is arena, so you're going to have menagerie stuff. So you're probably going to hit 3 or 4 things on this. I mean, again, you compare this. Something like a Grime Street Outfitter was like a 1/1 before, and it was in the mid-60s because of how good it was. And as a 2/2, it's probably going to be in the 70s. And I'd say this is not as good as a Grime Street Outfitter for the effect, but better because it's a lot harder to remove. So, I mean, yeah, this is just like a really good spell. Like, hand buffs are good. Party Animal is going to hit a decent amount of things. I think that's a 4-star effect. Rowdy Fan is still in the 4-star range. So we go to Rowdy Fan. This is a 3 mana 1/5. Where is it? Rowdy Fan. Choose a minion. It has 4 attack while this is alive. So the easiest card to compare this to is a Plagued Scientist, which is leaving standard. A Plagued Scientist is here in like a 72. 3 mana 2/3 combo. Give a friendly minion poisonous. So a 1/5 versus a 2/3. I mean, arguably the same. Like, there's not like really that much of a difference. So they give a friendly minion poisonous, that means the minion's probably going to die. You're going to guarantee to kill something. But if you're giving a minion +4 attack, it's kind of, in most cases, poisonous. And there's the fact that, sorry, there is the fact that the +4 attack, like the minion can live and still have the 4 attack. And there's the fact that the attack can go face. And there's the fact that you don't need to combo it, so it's something you can play on 3. Like you can just play like a regular 2-drop, you played a Rowdy Fan on it, and you can trade something off, and you've got board advantage. While you can't do that with Plague Scientist. So ultimately, I say you look at it like Plague Scientist. There's situations where Plague Scientist is better, and there's a lot of situations where Rowdy Fan is better. So I have it. It raises up to my level of a 4-star card. Cowbell Soloist. We start to get into like the 3. I'll say 4-star minus. Yeah, it's right on that edge. Cowbell Soloist. 3 mana for 4/2. Where are you? If you control no minions, deal 2 damage. Problem here is it's a 4/2, and so it is a 4/2, and because it's a 4/2, like that's a weak body. If you control no other minions, deal 2 damage. Now that's still really good removal, because you play this on 3, you kill off a 2-drop, or you play this, you have nothing on the board, and you can ping off that like whatever annoying thing it is. So to me, I mean, this is a really strong effect. I mean, the body's weak, so you can't always play it. You're playing it only if it's soloist, really. But for the most part, you're not really playing this as a curve card if you can't remove anything. But there are going to be a lot of situations, like, I'll put it to you this way, and I might be underrating this, because a 3 mana 2/1 that has like Battle Cry, deal 2 damage would probably be in the 70s. I mean, there's a bunch of cards like that. So this, you need the soloist aspect, so it's a little worse, but you get a much better body. So as I said, it's going to be a very high 3-star card. All right. Here, usually I go through the cards and I eliminate the text. I actually did not eliminate the last bit of text here. All right. Amplified Elekk. So again, some of these cards I do not remember. I believe Amplified Elekk is a... Where are you? Okay, here. Okay, that's the big one. 10 drop. 10 drop. 10 mana, 6/12 taunt, death rattle, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions. So you expect a lot out of a 10 drop. So here you get a 6/12 and you deal 3 damage to enemy minions. So comparable to Priest, if I can find Priest, there is a card in Priest. It's not Cleric of Ashani, I think. I want to say... What is the card in Priest? There is a Priest 3/7. Did I write it in here? Amplified. There's Undying Disciple. I have it on my personal notes here. Undying Disciple. So where is that? Aha. 6 mana, 3/7 taunt, death rattle, deal damage equal to this minion's attack to all enemy minions. And this is a really good Priest card. 3/7. So it's 4 more mana. You get like, so this one, I mean, this can be hand buffed, that are buffed with things, but that's okay. But you get 3 attack and you get 5 health for 4 more mana. I mean, that really should matter a lot, right? Except for the fact that it's 10 mana. And there's silence. Silence exists. And there's hard removals. And at 10 mana, the deal 3 damage to all enemy minions, that becomes a lot less important. Especially if things are trading off into it, you can, I mean, there's been enough times when you've been able to like manipulate trades. There was the 3/7 taunt that never really did anything, the neutral version, but it did 3 to all. But there's a lot of times where you're able to just manipulate trades. And this is ultimately why I only think it's going to be a 3-star card. I don't think it's going to be I mean, it's good, but is it necessarily better than the, I forget the name, the 7/7 taunt that death rattles into a 7/7 taunt. I would rather have that than this, and that's like a 77. So I'm going to say this as a 73. Okay, next one, Candle Raiser, 4 mana, that's Divine Shield. Finale, give adjacent minions Divine Shield. So, 4 mana, 3/3 Divine Shield. We've had that before. That was worse than the Yeti. That's like basically a 2-star card. So, Finale, give adjacent minions Divine Shield. As I've mentioned, Finale doesn't go off all the time. I mean, this is a really, really powerful effect, but it's much more difficult than you think to get Finale off. So, is this going to go off all the time? No. That's why it's not a 4-star card. That's why it's a 3-star card. So, here. Okay. Like an Argent Protector is something that goes off all the time, and that's why it's in the 90s and not in the 70s. Alright. Hipster. One second. Hipster, if I remember, here it is. Okay, Hipster. 2 mana, 1/3, Battlecry, discover a spell from your opponent's class that isn't in their deck. Alright, so again, there's like a lot of epic and legendary spells that are not going to be in their deck. We have in this set, there's a lot of legendary spells. So you can play a Shaman and you can get a Jive Ragnaros. I mean, that's legitimately a possibility. You play a Mage and you can get Infinitize the Maxitude. So with this 2 mana, like it's kind of like the old Pandaren Importer. Excuse me as I get liquid through my throat. So Pandaren Importer is still in. If you take a look at a Pandaren Importer, that's a 76. It's worse than a Pandaren Importer because a 2 mana 1/3 is better than a 3 mana. Let's look at the old thing. Like right man, it's a 3 mana 2/4, but a 2 mana 1/3 is worse than a 3 mana 2/4, right? So that's why for me it hits only like the 3. That's one of the reasons why it only hits the 3-star range. But again, it's basically a 2-drop, generates a card, that's always going to be good. Next one, Outfit Tailor. Outfit Tailor to, okay, here. Give a friendly minion attack and health equal to this minion's. So, if you get a hand buff on this, then you can get +3/+3 on a 3-drop with a 3/3. It's going to be a 2/2 that gives +2/+2. I mean, that's good. There's hand buffs in there. I've already, like, some classes have hand buff access. Like, the party animal won't activate it because it doesn't have any menagerie stuff here. But ultimately, I think this is just going to be like I think it's a solid buff. I think it's kind of like it's a quasi replacement for Dark Iron Dwarf. Worse than a Dark Iron Dwarf, but still give +2 attack to something on curve. Like you play a 2/3, you play this, you got a Yeti, you trade off the 3-drop, you've got a weak Yeti plus this. I mean, that's just like a really good effect. So I think that's a 3-star card. And the weak body is kind of what holds it back. Rolling Stone. 2 mana 2/2 rush. If the last card you play costs 1, gain +1/+1. So obviously, turn 1 1-drop, turn 2 this, really good. Is that going to happen? Very long, probably not likely. I don't think that many people draft enough 1-drops and have this synergy going. I mean, you could just play this as a 1-drop plus this on 3 and have the 3/3 rush for 2. Again, ultimately, they might play a 3/2 and the 3/3 rush is kind of irrelevant. Those are kind of the things that go against it. Still, it's a 2/2 rush. It can take out small things. I mean, I ultimately think it's a 3-star card. Air Guitarist. 1/1, give your weapon +1 durability. So, you have, okay, again, this score was rated before I did the, whatchamacallit. So, here's the problem. If you're a rogue, you have an easy access to a weapon, but is it really worth it giving your dagger 1 durability? Unless you get like those weapon buffs, probably not. Especially a 1/1 that gives your weapon durability. Regular weapon classes, I mean, this might be worth it just to hold it for that. But 1 mana +1 durability, yeah, it really depends on the weapon. And again, I might be overrating this. This is one of those ones where I'm like, I probably could be wrong in this one. And I'm thinking about it. So those classes, I would say it's a 3-star, maybe a 2-star card. Other classes, I'm going to raise it to a 15, just because your weapon, you're not going to like replace your weapon. You're not for like a mage or priest. So the +1 durability could be very useful on those classes. Just basic, so like you can hold this for a longer time, but it's less important because like you're not gonna get rid of it soon. That's what. Basically, the weapon, you're always gonna keep the weapon, so you don't need the durability, so you can attack in with it. You're keeping it for the effect. So getting it is not nearly as important. So 3 stars or 1 star, basically here. Stereo Totem. Stereo Totem is here. At the end of your turn, give a random minion in your hand +2/+2. I compare this to something like a Manatite Totem. Would you rather draw? Would you rather pay one more mana and draw a card, or would you rather pay this and buff a minion? So, I mean, that's good. I compare this to certain cards like we know the caravans. We know from the caravans that the caravans are decent cards, but we also know the caravans get removed really, really easily. So, like if we take a look, like what's the best caravan? The paladin has like we can take a look. The best caravan, the soldier's caravan, the one Abekta Merp said was going to ruin the game, and it's like an average card. I mean, we take a look. The hunter one, the hunter caravan, that hand buffs the hand, and at the start of your turn, it's like an average card. I'm probably being a little bit too high on this from the +2/+2 buff. So overall, the caravans have in like no classes that had the caravans. Do the caravans really do all that much? The priest caravan that always gives you a spell from your opponent's deck never did anything. All right. So point being, I might actually be a little bit too high on this by saying it's a 3-star plus. There's a 3-star minus. But I do think that if you can protect this is really, really strong. And unlike the caravan, it's not gonna like run out of stuff. All right. See here. Next one here is gonna be Obsessive Fan. 4 mana, 2/6. Choose a minion. It has stealth while this is active. 4 mana, 2/6. That's just it's weak body. Stealth while it's active, you can trade it into something, and then the opponent can't like counter trade it. You have to kill this thing off. So easiest comparison for this is going to be Red Herring. So if we go to neutrals, we go to Red Herring. Red Herring is a 7 mana. Hi. Hello, Harthermina. Okay, you can kind of see here. 7 mana, 3/12 taunt. Your non-Red Herring minions have stealth. So a 7 mana 3/12 taunt is not really all that strong, but you know what? It's still like it's something you have to kill in order to get to the other non-stealth stuff. So 7 mana 3/12 minion versus a 4 mana 2/6. I take the 7 mana 3/12. A little bit higher. I mean, it's got a lot of stats, but it's pretty weak. It's still pretty weak for the turn that it comes down, and it stealths everything. So this, as I said, like this is one of those cards where I caught myself, and I definitely reduced it down in power level. I think this is only a 2-star card. I think there are situations where this is going to be useful though. Next one here, Frequency Oscillator. Frequency Oscillator, if I can find it. I believe it's 1 mana card. Yeah, here. Next mech you play costs 1 less. We've seen these cards before. These cards don't do anything. So it's a let me see here. A 1 mana 2/1 is going to be like in like the high 30s. I give it a buff here. It's going to be a borderline 2-star minus card. If you want to say it's a 1-star card, that's fine. Annoying Fan. Choose a mech. Battlecry, choose a minion. It can't attack while this is alive. So you can use this to freeze out an enemy minion. It's kind of like a 1 mana freezing potion that can last forever and has a body attached to it. And it has a mech tag, and there's magnetic things coming back in. So you play this on 1, and then you coin out the 2/5 taunt. I forget its name. Like I forget the 2/5 magnetic taunt. I forget its name off the top of my head. You magnetize that, and now you've got a 3/8 taunt on 2, and you're blocking something. So you can do that. You can use this to like behind a wall of taunts to block something and stop them from doing things. These are all interesting things, but again, you're using a card for that. So I can see someone saying that's a good card. Like I think that it is a little bit of a waste of a card, especially for 1 mana. Like best case scenario would be Snap Freeze. Like if we compare it to Snap Freeze. Snap Freeze is a 1 mana freeze a minion, right? So this is a Snap Freeze that can, if it lives, and as a 1/2, there's a very good chance it's not going to live, that'll last for multiple turns. Snap Freeze, there's enough frozen stuff via Discover, via just like regular drafting, that sometimes the destroy thing actually does matter. I mean, the body itself. So ultimately, a better Snap Freeze puts it right around into the 2-star range. And again, I could be underrating this. All right. Merch Seller, which is the last of the neutrals here. Let's like pull it up. Where's Merch Seller? Merch Seller. 4 mana, 3/5. At the end of your turn, put a random spell on top of your opponent's deck. 4 mana, 3/5. Okay, I'm going to say this. I'm rating it lower than what it should be. I'm rating it this low because I do not like the effect. And I'm going to acknowledge the effect is probably a positive. A 4 mana, 3/5 with a positive effect, that should be like a high 2-star card. So this, to me, I do not want to give my opponent the win. I do not want to give them a stupid legendary spell that wins. Like, I would rather take my chances with what they have, what they're top decking, than give them something, give them an answer, give them an out. Like, I would rather have a random minion than whatever they drafted than them having this. So ultimately, I'm going to say this is not a full valuation of its power level. This is a valuation of how I would draft it, and for me, that would be a low 2-star card. All right, going to rares. I'm going to take a small drink from my throat. All right, so rares, we only got 5 rares, so it's a lot easier to go through on my thing. All right, so rares. First one here, Mishmash Mosher. 8 mana, 3 trait rush. After this attacks, gain +1 attack and attack a random enemy minion. I misread this card. I just realized I misread this card, and this card is a 5-star card. Well, is it a 5-star card? All right, so here's the deal. I thought it would only attack one more time. What I realized this is this is a quasi AoE. How I just realized I misread it because I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh wait, it just clicked on me. This is one of those cards I did not think about. So you attack in first to something. You can choose what it kills. After you attack, it gains 1 attack. It goes up to 4. And then it attacks a random enemy minion. So you probably choose something very, very low for this to remove. It gains 1 more. It goes to a 4/10. Attacks a random enemy minion. And now what I realized is that after this attacks that minion as a 4 whatever, it's going to gain 5 attack and attack a minion again. So in my head, I only thought it would attack once, but it's going to keep on attacking over and over again until it's dead or the opponent's board is dead. There was a card, I forget the name of the card offhand. It was like an 8 mana 3/12 that had Rush and Mega Wind Fury and something like that, and could only attack minions. I forget this card. I'm gonna do something here. Okay, 8 man. I'm gonna do here. Wild, Sparstana, Rush, and minions only. Neutral. It was a neutral card. I forget the name of the card. Batterhead. Okay, a little bit different from Batterhead because this can. Okay, this is better Batterhead, and I like Batterhead. After this attacks and kills a minion, it may attack again. So it's kind of like a Batterhead that can just like continue. The Batterhead would reliably wipe the board, but you need small things. So the big difference with the Mishmash Mosher is that you can attack into something small, and then you can have this like attack into big things and just continually gain attack and continually wipe the board. I'm gonna do a quick check here. This is how I check old. By the way, you're seeing this? This is how I check old Hearth Arena stuff. All right. So they had Batterhead here, 66. I'm not sure. I checked some of the scores here, like I usually check here. So they have Batterhead in the 70s. So I think I may have accidentally gotten this right. Okay, yeah, I think I may have accidentally got this right. Okay, I was thinking I vastly underrated it, but I'm thinking I vastly overrated the full effect. And I think the effect, like the ability to remove things, I think it's going to end up being a 4-star effect. I think that's the best way to describe it. Anyways, so basically it's a board wipe if you got a bunch of small things. you can wipe something big if it's like the only thing, because it'll keep on attacking into that until you kill that big thing. You can wipe. It's a little RNG dependent, but again, really really good card for moving stuff. Okay. Next one here is Organ Roadie. Summon an O3 instrument case for your weapon, break it for a random weapon. So you're losing Dark Iron Dwarf, you're losing Cobalt Scale Beam, you're losing things that buff your you're losing things that your opponent can buff the minion and take that away from you. Opponent could always silence, opponent could always bounce, but those aren't things they're always going to do. So the point is, it's a 3 mana 3/4. You give your opponent something, you kill it, and you get a buff. I mean, that's like 3/4 draw a card. That's really good. That's a 4-star effect. I mean, don't think I need to explain that. Like, again, the O3 might hurt you. The opponent might evolve it. There's a lot of different things they could do with it. But I think it's a 3/4 reliably get a decent card. Now, random weapon. Random weapons can be anything. Could be things you don't like. Could be like the priest, your hero power costs 0 weapon. Anything like that. Alright, next one. Static waveform. At the start of each turn, lose 1 attack or health chosen randomly. Alright, so why is this good? So, you play this as a 5/6. So, your 3 options. It's either going to be a 3 mana 5/4 on your turn, it's going to be a 3 mana 4/5, or it's going to be a 3 mana 3/6. Either one of those options are really good. You trade that into your opponent's thing. If RNG benefits you, then you're probably not going to lose it. So it's a 3-drop that has 4-drop value, but you need to trade it like immediately to make an effect. So the fact it can't go face, that hurts it. But ultimately, I think it's a decent card. I'd rather have a 4/4 over this personally, but I think this is a really solid 3-star card, better than a lot of the regular 4-drops or 3-drops. Festival Security. 3 mana 2/5 taunt, finale, force all minions to attack into this. This is a case where you may not want to activate the finale. I mean, if you've got a board bunch of small things, then you can do this, and the small things will attack in, and then the small things will die. And this is kind of like a quasi AoE in that sense. If you've got big things, you just don't play with the finale, and you use it to just like this is a case where you don't play the finale. You use it, and you just use it to kind of block off your opponent. So overall, 3 mana 2/5 taunt, that's a good card, 3-star card. Metronome. After you play a 1-cost card, draw a 2-cost card, then increase. Entirely dependent on having a 1-cost card to play. If you do, you can pretty much just draw through your deck while this thing lives. Like turn 10, you play this, you play a 1, that's a 4. You play a 2, that's 6. You play a 3, that's 9. So you can draw potentially 3 cards off of this. So, I mean, this is great for aggro decks. This is great for, I mean, it's a little bit situational because, again, you need to have that 1-cost card. But then you can just, like, continually draw your deck with it. Like Mage has the 1 mana spell. Synthesize. You play this with the Synthesize, and you get the 2 and the 3 automatically. So you can, whatever 2-cost card you have in your deck, or the Elemental, plus you have the 3 or whatever 3 Elemental, and so on. So ultimately, this is going to be a 3-drop that probably draws a couple cards if you have a 1-drop in hand. And that's the only thing. Like, if that's the only thing holding it back, having a 1 mana card to activate this. So that's why I only have it as 2 stars. If you have 1 mana cards, this thing, its value goes way up. Alright. Next one is going to be the Epics. Epic, Unpopular Has-Been. 6 mana 5/5, Death Rattle, summon a random 5-cost minion from the past. So this is a wild 5-drop. Alright. So basically a wild 5-drop, like, it could be really strong. I compare it to Cairn. Is this better than Cairn? You'd rather have Cairn that reliably gives you a 5/5 than this. So no. So it's a 4-star card. Cairn is like an 81. This is a few points worse because of RNG, because there are bad 5-drops that you can summon. Alright. Next one is going to be Audio Amplifier. Set your maximum mana and hand size to 11. I've talked about how for Finale, like setting your hand size to 11, if you have, is going to be a lot harder to activate Finales if your hand size is odd because your hero power can only get so much. You need like another odd card to activate this. All right. So, anyways, battle cries. The hand size is not going to matter. Mana can matter. I don't think it's going to matter all that much. Like ultimately, I just see it as a 2-drop, so it's a 2-star card. Okay, cover artist. Now we're getting into like the bad stuff. Okay. Battle Cry. Transform into a 3/3 copy of a minion. A 4-mana 3/3 copy of a minion, is that really all that good? Like, are there that many things out there where that would be useful? I don't think so. So, ultimately for this card, I don't think it's going to be useful. Like, it's so situational. Like, it's so situational that I can't justify it. It's a 1-star card for me. Next one here, Freebird. All right. They didn't make the obvious. They didn't make the Freebird song joke. All right. Anyway, 4-mana 2/2 charge. This is constructed stuff. It's not arena stuff. There's situations where the 2/2 charge plus something is going to benefit 1-star. Don't need to say. Crowd Surfer. Death Rattle. Give any other minion +1/+1 and this Death Rattle. So basically, it's RNG. It's complete RNG. And your opponent, it's entirely possible that you end up giving this to your opponent and it buffs your opponent and it screws up a trade or anything like that. Maybe it's a little bit better than this. This is a card I'm not going to pick. It's a 1-star card. And finally, the legendary minions. So let's go over what there is. The 1 Amalgam Ban here. 7-mana 6/6 Battlecry, giving a random bonus effect for each minion type you've played this game. I'm not sure if it activates itself if you've played nothing else. But are you gonna so the things are, and I actually noted this in my thing here: Taunt, Rush, Windfury Stuff, Poisonous, Lifesteal, Reborn, Divine Shield. Those are the 8 effects. So you're probably gonna get 3 or 4 of those. The high roll is that you get I forget his name. The Windlord guy. The 6/6 where you could choose from Taunt, Rush, Divine Shield, or Windfury. Silas, I want to say. I want to say the high roll is a 7-mana Silas that has like all 4 things, or you get like 2 things with Silas. So ultimately, is this going to be a good card? Yes. It's like you're going to get at least 3 or 4 things to activate off of this. I think it's going to be a 4-star card. I think this is going to be a really good card. All right. Next one here, POSIC Audio Engineer. Add 2 3/3 bots to your opponent's hand and Death Rattle, summon them for yourself. So, you play this on turn 4. Your opponent is going to have to anti-tempo. Right? Because if your opponent just plays 4-drop, you kill off the 4-drop, and then POSIC gets 2 3/3s that come out of it. Or your opponent plays 3/3, POSIC takes a trade, you get ahead on board, and then your opponent still has a 3/3 that they have to get rid of. On curve, this is incredibly powerful, right? So in the mid to late game, though, like there are turns where you're just giving your opponent extra resources. So ultimately, I think it's a 4-star card. It's right on the range of 4-star plus. I think on curve, this is incredibly powerful. I think in the mid to late game, you're just giving your opponent resources, and giving your opponent resources is not a good thing in the mid to late game. So kind of like that's what brings it down. That's basically what brings it down for it. All right. Next one is going to be Tony, King of Piracy. Both players' decks are swapped. Finale, draw a card. The deck swapping, I don't like it. I consider that effect a negative. I can see how it ultimately probably is not going to matter all that much. Finale, draw a card. That's basically what keeps it a positive for me. Because it's still 5 mana, 4/6. Draw a card if you hit the finale on it. And maybe your opponent's deck is good. So that's why I have it as a 3-star card instead of not punishing it more. Because that is a positive effect. Alright, next one is going to be Photographer. Fizzle. I'll just pull these up here. I don't care anymore. Take a snapshot of your current hand and shuffle it into your deck. So basically, whatever cards you have in your hand, you get a Fizzle's snapshot that generates those cards. So if you draw that, you get those cards back. So this is kind of like a budget version of Elise. I think, is Elise still in? Is Elise still in here? This is a budget. This is a kind of Elise Starseeker. Is other Elise still in? I think. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is the right. I want to make sure this is the right Elise. So it's kind of like Elise. You've got less steps on the Elise, but 3-5 is better than 3-4. And then when you get this card, you get like 5 different cards or something along those lines. So I mean, good effect. It's a shuffle into your hand effect. That's not going to be all that great. I have it as a 2-star card. And then finally, ETC band managers already been banned from Arena. I'm just going to go over that very quickly. It's a 4-minute 4/4 while building your deck. Assemble a band of 3 cards. Battle cry. Discover 1. So you play this. You put 3 cards in there. These are tech cards. You play this. You can pick whatever tech card you want. That's basically it. I would like to see an Arena format where you could do something like that, where you would. That's one of the things I want for Arena. Something where you have an ETC month in Arena, where at the end of your Arena draft, everyone gets an ETC, and you can take, like, you can Arena draft to 33 cards, and you have ETC. Oh, sorry, you Arena draft to 32 cards, and then at the very end you have ETC, and you pick 3 cards and you put them in ETC. So you have a 32 card deck, but 3 cards go into ETC, so it makes it a 30 card deck, and then you have those cards that are super situational that you can put in there. That's something I'm not sure. Like, I would even want that for like a Tavern Brawl, like arena style thing. All right, that is it for the neutrals. I am going to upload this to YouTube, and I'll publish it probably before I go to bed, because I have to wake up early for work tomorrow and go into work, even though today I had to work and I was having trouble walking around and staying up and losing balance. All right, I'll see you guys in the future. I'll see you guys in the arena. Take care, everybody.